Ready? Okay, let's start. So, yeah, Lukas, thank you for having us here. Great to meet everybody. My name is Alexei. I'm running
Danil.
this Primit company. And yeah, Danil, our Sitecore MVP, and we actually created an xConnect and marketing automation demo that we will demonstrate. Let me practice. So this is a slide that we borrowed from Sitecore webinar for partners when they introduced Sitecore 9, and it gives you an idea of what is xConnect, and we will move to the details. But it's basically a service layer that makes it possible to integrate with website, with Internet of Things, beacons, call centers, CRM systems. So whatever system that has experience data can easily be integrated to the xConnect layer. It is built to be scalable. It is built to be secure. It can run on multiple databases, and Sitecore is currently working to enable connectors with Salesforce and Microsoft Dynamics CRM. Those are not available yet, but they are coming soon. Okay, so let's get back and think of what kind of problems we had in the past when dealing with experience data, with contacts and interactions.
Yeah, maybe who actually worked with customizing something in analytics, tracking manually something.
Creating custom facets for contacts.
Maybe someone was happy with this API, or maybe maybe documentation was nice.
I did it, but I'm not happy.
So yeah, basically, in Sitecore 8 there are a number of issues when working with tracking and contacts interactions. You have to deal with contact logs. The scalability was an issue. Extending model for interaction was not possible. There was really little documentation available, and in Sitecore 9, all those problems are solved basically. And it is built scalable, cloud ready, secure. It supports GDPR as mentioned before. It is really omni-channel ready, and we will demonstrate it. And it's really very well documented. Sitecore did a great job writing down documentation for Sitecore 9, for xConnect, and for many other features available there.
Yeah, and no more contact logs. So previously,
Yeah, just
yeah, if you wanted to edit XDB contact, you have to check all the cases with login data on all the storages. But now it's much more simple.
So this is like a very quick preview of what editing XDB contact was in Sitecore 8 and
Because
what it is now with xConnect.
xConnect uses optimistic logs, so just last contact updates win. And so you have to be aware of it, but it's much easier now.
Okay, you have already seen this slide. So again, we are going a bit deeper and deeper in terms of xConnect. So xConnect is a service layer that is between any tool or device or software that has experience data and wants to push it and pull it to the XDB. And xConnect is the only way to do it. So xConnect is a middleware between any tracking that takes place and the XDB, where the collection database is available, where the processing takes place, etc. It implements OData protocol. It's provider-based, so we can of course override something, and we can use read, write, and search operations, and a lot more. So this is like a first quick preview. Getting a bit deeper in what is really xConnect about. So there are multiple APIs available in the xConnect web API. Some of them are collection. This is the one that you will use for tracking, for recording your interactions, contacts, changes there. There is Search Web API that you will use for searching your experience data. Automations Operations API. There is Configurations API. There is Automations Reporting API. Reference Data API. There are a lot of APIs available. We will not discuss all of them, but just some of them. But yeah, be aware that there are those APIs available. Basically, what you will manage with xConnect is primarily contacts and their interactions. And we can have online, offline interactions. We can create custom events. We can create custom goals, custom outcomes. So this is like a first preview of what you are really going to manage with xConnect. This is a slide from Sitecore documentation, and it gives you an idea of the relationships between the entities that are available in the default collection model. So you can see that outcome is now actually inherited from event. It was not the case in Sitecore 8. Outcome was a sort of different type of event. Goal, page event, they are all inherited from events. Interactions, you can also see that there are identifiers available, which is an important part of the xConnect. So that's an example of the documentation, and it's very well described in the documentation from Sitecore. On top of those entities like contact interaction, contact identity, you have facets. So there are a number of default facets available for contact, a number of default facets available for interactions, and you can add your custom facets and attach them to the contact. And in Sitecore 9, you can also do it with interactions. It wasn't possible in Sitecore 8. Let's move to the next slide.
Yeah, presentation is not opened. Yeah. Training now.
So what are we? Okay, so now we are going to move to the demo. So just a few words about this demo. It was created for Sitecore Symposium. So we had our booth there, and people were coming to see the demo. And we created it based on Sitecore 9 technical preview. It was a bit challenging because you can imagine there are even more issues. But yeah, still, so the concept is that we have attendees walking to our booth. We have this camera, and we start with offline interaction. So I will first demonstrate it. Can you bring the screen? Doesn't scale very well. Okay, so there is this camera that is kind of waiting for the face. The label is, yeah, it's waiting for the face. So I will imagine I'm a visitor approaching our booth at Sitecore Symposium Partner Pavilion. So, okay, so we have the face capture, and next I will use this badge from Danil to let the camera capture it. You have to be a little bit careful. And okay, so the badge is now captured. What happens next is there is a browser. You can probably bring it here.
Oops.
Okay, so can you just zoom it out a little bit so that it looks better? Just Control minus. Zoom out.
Yeah.
Okay, so you can see what happened is there is my photo. There is information that was available on the badge. So there's this Danil remit male 33. Now Danil is going to provide an email address. Whatever email address. The idea was for us to send attendees a personalized agenda. So they come to our booth. We let them interact with the camera. We let them interact with the browser, and they get a personalized agenda for the entire symposium. So that there was this profile created for Danil, Sitecore MVP sponsor, partner. We are now going to check the experience profile, and you can see there is this latest record for Danil, server.com email address. You can see there is this photo, all the information is there, and you can see the best pattern matches. You can, yeah, probably zoom it. Okay, that's better. So you can see that all the data is available immediately in experience profile. Now we have another volunteer to help us for different profiles. So there is this Danil, like a developer, MVP, something, and we also have a Julia, let's say, okay?
That was my dream to be Julia always.
So just to give you an idea, Julia is entirely different profile. She is attendee, and she is not a partner. She's just attendee. So this is the sorry, but this is the real kind of badge that was available for the attendees. Those people who are not partners really. So if you can do the same, just walk in to get your face captured first. Okay, then just try to bring the badge closer. You should do it a lot more closer. Okay.
Julia?
Yeah, this software. Okay, what you do now? You hide attendee. Okay. Well, let's see what it will. Thank you. Yeah.
Yay, thank you.
So you should go to the profile first because.
Yeah, but now you can see
Yeah.
contact
Okay.
is already here.
Yeah, the contact is already there. So maybe this is. We haven't started the online interaction, so the demo is a little bit broken. But let me explain. So if you go back to the experience profile, Danil, what we have is a Danil and his profile and his patterns matches, and he's like a Sitecore developer partner. And we have also Julia. You can probably open the Julia from the previous example. This one will work, I think. So this is our Julia. This is real Julia, by the way. So if you scroll down a little bit, you can see there is different profile. It's a senior marketer and a client. So now I'm going to explain what happened and how we made it possible to work this way. So if you can switch back to the presentation, we'll get back to the experience profile a few minutes later, but just switch back to the presentation. Okay, so in the beginning we had anonymous contact. We don't know anything about this person approaching our camera or booth, whatever. And we had xConnect. Just close it. Yeah. Okay, so it's probably not activated. Just click it. Okay, so then this contact had we can say offline interaction with desktop web application that has camera connected. And we actually sent the images of the face and the badge to the cognitive services to get gender, age, and also to get the text from the badge. Then we get all this information from the cognitive services, and what we do next, we create a contact in the XDB using xConnect. We update the personal facet for this contact. We create offline interaction because it's kind of offline device camera, and along with this interaction we associate face API custom facets. So this is like a custom facet face API. You can think of it as a data that we received from cognitive services for the face. So based on interaction with the camera, we have pushed some information to the xConnect And based on this information, we already know that Julia is a female. She is, well, it was 33 years old in this. So we already know some information about this content. It's not anonymous content anymore. What happened next is Julia had online interaction with the website. She basically updated her personal information, if the age was not correct maybe, and she also provided email address, which was saved as a facet for as a email address list facet, and she also triggered a goal, kind of sign up for the agenda, for the email agenda, for the agenda email. So she had another interaction, which is online interaction. And then there is this automation engine, which is a new feature from Sitecore 9, marketing automation engine. Then this automation engine comes into play, and it can see that there was a goal triggered immediately, and it can start processing this contact according to the automation plan created in advance. And if you can switch back to Sitecore, and please go to the marketing automation. Okay, so this is this new marketing automation feature, and it basically starts with the first campaign entry action type, which is agenda sign up. So agenda sign up is a goal triggered. You can click it. You can see that this plan will start if there is agenda sign up goal triggered. Then based on gender condition, we move the contact down the different rows, and if you can just zoom out to show. So we have, for the female, we check if the age is below 30, above 40, and for the specific age and specific gender, if you can just click this action, marketing action. Okay, so you can see that for the female above 40, we assign 10 points for the senior profile key, 10 for the business development profile key, 10 for the marketing profile key. So those are the profile keys created in advance, and based on the conditions evaluated in the marketing plan, we assign some profile key values. Then we move to the male, and we pretty much do the same, but our assumption was that males are mostly developers. So if you can click the different marketing action. Okay, so if there is a male below 30, then we assign junior developer profile key values. So this it was our assumption, but it worked pretty well. So most of the people got recognized quite okay. If you move down the plan, you can see that we further check if the company name matches the partner list, and this way we can identify if this contact is a partner or if this contact is a client. We also check if there is a label MVP. We also check if there is a sponsor label, and based on this information that we have, we assign different profile keys. And in the end of the marketing automation plan, we send agenda email. So there was an email sent with the personalized agenda, but the personalization took place based on all those profile key values and patterns associated with the content. So this is like a first quick look at the marketing automation, and if you go back to the experience profile, you can see that, just stay here for a second. So you can see that there was, we should probably click show more. Okay, so you can see that we started with offline interaction, which was coming from this camera. You can hardly see anything there really, but yeah, just regular information about interaction, but you don't see any pages. Then there was online interaction, which is kind of other display channel, and then you can see there is a number of system interactions. Those are created by the marketing automation plan when evaluating the contact and changing behavior profile. So every change every time the behavior profile was changed for Julia, there was system interaction created for this contact. In Sitecore 9 release, it's actually called a bit different way. It's not called system, it's probably called change behavior profile interaction or something like this, but it's not really that important. And back to this different profile, who is kind of Danil, you can see that we have contact acquisition outcome recorded. We have all the same activities, started with offline, online, then system interactions, and we can see there is this 100% match for Sitecore profile pattern, and 100% match for senior because there was MVP on his badge, and there is this match for the developer profile pattern. So you could see that everything took place immediately. You didn't wait for any sessions to expire or any logs to be released or anything like this. So all the changes that we have seen, they took place immediately, and the information was immediately available in the experience profile. And that's where the xConnect kind of helps a lot. So that's a demo part. Now I will let Danil continue and give you some preview on the code that is behind this demo. So the code for the contexts, interactions, and everything like this.
Probably now we can see the code. What you see now is just one huge example. It's really working example, but don't think of it as a production code.
It was created in kind of 2 weeks, a lot of weekends, something like this.
Yeah, so, but here I can show you all the basic stuff we can do and will do with contacts. So, yeah, first important thing about contacts is the identification. Now we have a flexible model for identification, so any contact can have any kind of identifications and any number of them. Identification is a pair of 2 strings. Yeah, like in all examples by Sitecore is string Twitter and Twitter handle, for example, or keyword email and some special email. It's just a pair of 2 strings, and any contact can be identified by these 2 strings. And any contact has a large number of these pairs. So, for example, if you have several users, several contacts, and you allow contacts to identify themselves, so at some point, for example, it can happen that you'll have 3 contacts with overlapping identifiers, and at this point xConnect will merge all of them into one contact. And you can easily add a new identifier. Yeah. What you will need to do to just declare pretty simple class, and then it's a contact identifier, 2 strings type of it, and then we just call client as contact identifier.
So client is this magic xConnect web API client.
Yeah, it's xConnect. I will show later where we get this client. Yeah, so we identify them. Then we need, for example, to display an email in this list for analytics dashboard. For this, we just need to set special facet for the contact. it's a mail address list. It's default facet. It comes out of the box. So basically, we just call contact get facet, then init it, set email. The only tricky part here is how we get contact before. If you want to get any facet, we need to ask xConnect to load this facet for us. So when we get a contact, we ask xConnect to load some keys, so facet keys. If we don't ask, then we will just have a null and won't be able to see or edit it. And then again we just submit it. After we submit it, there is a useful property as batch for client, because any update will go as a batch, so we can do a lot of sets or changes and then just one submit. And this last batch will contain a lot of records for each operation with a mark if it's successful or not. So it will be useful probably for debugging on development stage, but yeah. Again, here how we get contact with all the facets we have. So if you want to get an image, we must ask for avatar, and CV person facet is our custom facet, which we edit and deployed to xConnect. And then we just call get facet and take all the data. Here is one of default facets, is contact behavior profile, which defines all these detected profiles like marketer, developer, business analytics. And yeah, the same for update. We just get a reference, set fields, and then submit it. Or add a facet with set facet. When we add a contact, we again just have to have some identifier, and again set all the facets we have to have and submit everything. Yeah, this is the interesting thing. It's how we execute write to be forgotten. So we actually just recall execute write to be forgotten method. And when client executes this method, xConnect loads all the facets of this client or this contact, which are marked by PII sensitive attribute, and just erases it. So now we can easily, with few lines of code, really delete contact data from xConnect, from MongoDB, from SQL, without creating all these MongoDB queries. And here's an example how we can create new interaction. Again, we get a contact, then we just create new interaction. For interaction, we need few parameters. The channel ID is required, and user agent. User agent is just a string. So, for example, if this interaction came from our camera, then we can set it to video camera. And we need to initialize few parameters. Device profile, which is really required for contact, for interaction. And
you should probably ignore the IP info, fake visit, fake web visit, and face API. Yeah, those things, you should ignore them. They are just a workaround that we will explain a bit later.
Yeah, but currently you will have to edit.
Okay, well, I'll get back to it.
Yeah, that's one of possible workarounds. And yeah, so if we need the outcome, we just create it as an event. as a part of event model, and we have outcome with some monetary value in some currency. Yeah, it's how we can but should not search, because all search queries are async now. So yeah, this is just a workaround because we didn't have time for async everything. And so basically what we have is the same client contacts, which is iQueryable, and then any search query which is converted to Solr query, and then get the results and do everything we need. Same for interactions. So we ask for client interactions, and here we set relational data we need in the results, and yeah, we just get all the things here.
So there is actually another part of the demo where we show that it is also easy to pull information from xConnect, not just push it, but it's also easy to pull this information. And if you can just go back to Sitecore quickly and open the Power BI part of the demo. So we have this Power BI custom app integrated with a couple of dashboards. So this is now Power BI loading. It should work. I hope there are no licenses or something expired. Okay, so you can see that this is some information, some custom dashboard built within Power BI, but it uses the data that comes from the xConnect. So there is some web API where the data from XDB is then normalized, because it's kind of easy to operate that kind of data in Power BI. And then you get those interactive reports from the Power BI. So this data is actually coming from xConnect. And this is the number of total visits that we had. Conversion rate is how many people have supplied their email address. And you can see that this is when we did a lot of testing, October first week. And this is where the symposium took place, and a lot of people were coming to our booth to see the demo. And since then we didn't sync the Power BI with the xConnect, so there is no more data available. And if you go to the second report, there is just another bit of information.
Yeah, for sure, it's just an iframe which is loaded from Power BI online.
Yeah.
And
no
wrapped
magic
into
here. So you can see that there are those segments: client, partner, Sitecore, business, development, developer, marketer. Again, all cool, interactive. But those are segments are patterns and pattern matches that we had in XDB, in the contact experience profile. So we pull this information also to Power BI for reporting purposes. Shall we go back to slides?
No, just slides will be soon, but now. Yeah, just important note about connection to xConnect, because it is required to use SSL protocol to get data from xConnect, and we have to provide science certificates for this. And well, on local environment you will have troubles with it because you will create self-signed certificates, and sometimes
they are not quite trusted
yeah,
everywhere
yeah.
and by all the parts of the system.
Yeah,
But there is a lot of information already available, blog posts that have all kind of workarounds.
Yeah, so for development environment, we removed security with checking certificate thumbprint and connect just using URLs without real security. But if you connect to xConnect, not from Sitecore but from like console application, Windows service, web API, which is not Sitecore, you will have to provide certificates to this built-in client process. So this client will sign all the requests with this certificate, and xConnect will trust you. But if you work with xConnect in the Sitecore context, you will just ask something like, please get me client.
So this is like a code that you will use when you use xConnect outside of Sitecore context.
Yeah. If you want to see more code, like how to add a model, how to define facets, I can show it now, but maybe.
Yeah, well, if we have those kind of questions, then we can get back to it. This demo is actually, the entire source code is available on GitHub. If you like, we can just share the link. Going back to presentation. So, yeah, this is like another set of features that are available in xConnect, but we haven't showed them, we haven't used them. You have calculated facets, you have xConnect service plugins, and Contact Event Watcher is one of the marketing automation plugins that we will get back a bit later. You can use, you can build your own plugins, you can customize existing plugins. The demo for Right to be Forgotten we have already seen. So as soon as you start working with xConnect, and as soon as you push your first offline interaction using xConnect API, you will kind of face a problem in the experience profile because it's currently optimized for the web visits, online interactions, and so it crashes in a number of pipelines, and there is actually a quick workaround to solve it. And again, check our blog, we have this solved. Now we slowly move to the marketing automation. Just a quick overview of what it is really. So this is a snapshot of the marketing automation plan that you have already seen. And this is where marketers can create automated campaigns, and they can establish automated interactions, conversations with their contacts based on their behavior. And you can see that based on the profile and based on the experience data available, we could do some tweaks, change the behavior profile, and finally send the personalized email. It's very easy and user-friendly because you can drag and drop the new actions to the plan. You can easily customize it. So basically, well, not easy, but you can customize, you can add your own conditions that will be evaluated during the automation plan. You can note your actions. We'll get back to it a bit later. It's running as a standalone Windows services if it's on premises, Azure Web Job if it's in the cloud, and it can also run in console application, which I don't know, but probably will work.
Yeah. Yeah. Just a small note for developers. If you will install several Sitecore projects with Sitecore 9, you will have a bunch of these Windows services, because each new Sitecore installation will run 2 new Windows services, which take some CPU resources. They actually do some job in background, and just be aware of it. Probably you will need more powerful PC or laptop, and yeah.
Okay, so there's another example of the marketing automation plan, kind of a part of it. So in the marketing automation, there are different activity types available. The first one is campaign entry, which has a condition, and based on this condition, contact will be enrolled in the automation plan. There is a marketing action type of action, which is, for instance, send promo email. This is a custom marketing action created and deployed to the marketing automation engine. And the unsubscribe from list is another marketing action, but it's a built-in action. There is another type of actions, listeners. Those are actions that will be waiting for a certain period of time for a certain condition to be met. And if the time expires, then and the condition is not met, it will move to the no outgoing pass. If the condition is met within this duration, in this example 10 days, then the contact will move to the yes pass. So you can see that our marketing that the action types, they have outgoing passes. There is an option to have one outgoing pass. There is an option to have multiple outgoing passes. Actually, the marketing automation engine supports action types with any number of outgoing passes. So you can have the UI currently doesn't support it, but the engine supports marketing actions with any number of outgoing passes. And in the code, we don't have it in the demo, but in the code you can decide which pass to move the contact based on your logic. Like success move, and then you supply the pass keyword as a parameter, and then you tell the marketing automation engine that this contact should move this pass. But the logic, which pass to move, is something you define when you create your custom actions. So there is decision point, which is just evaluated immediately as soon as the contact reaches this point. And there are other actions, for instance, delay, just waiting for 10 days, doing nothing. So those are the types. So it's important to understand when contact will be enrolled in the automation plan. So as soon as xConnect receives an entity of the contact or interaction, it will create a task to sort of check if this contact or if this event triggers contact to be added to the automation plan. So every time something happens with xConnect, it will be sort of evaluated for all automation plans. There is timeout worker, which is something that is evaluating if contact should move to the next action based on your delays specified during the marketing automation plan. And there is also API available, which you can use to move contact to the certain plan. And you can also register live events with this API, and you can delete contact from the plan, or you can enroll contact to multiple plans. So it's as easy as operations client, enroll, register, purge. So very easy API, and this is all available in documentation because it's really great. Just a quick example that we have this client. This is the type of client that you get from Sitecore context, not outside of it. So there is no print or xConnect URL. It's all kind of coming from the Sitecore context. And so you have your contact ID, you have your plan ID, you create enroll request, and just enroll. That's easy. There is priority, which kind of tells the priority of evaluation of that specific enrollment. And there is default priority in the configuration. And this XDP contact event watcher, you can override it and, for instance, set events coming from certain channel to have higher priority. Just to give you an idea that you can again easily override everything and define your logic in Sitecore. Okay, so finishing. It's really a final slide. So if you're a developer, you will have to create custom actions, and this is where the fun starts. The fun starts. You can easily create backend logic. You're familiar with C# probably. You can create all kind of definition items. You can easily deploy it. That's all fine. but creating custom activity types requires that you create Angular TypeScript UI for the marketing automation plan. And how many of you are familiar with it? Cool, I wasn't familiar, and it took me quite some time to build my first action type, and I actually had support from Sitecore, from Alistair, from Australia, from New Zealand, right? Yeah, to make it work. So you have to start learning TypeScript, Angular, if you are going to build some custom action types. Custom condition is fairly easy. You just implement iCondition interface, deploy it to the marketing automation engine, and you are done. And again, there is some information that you can find on our blog regarding creating custom activity types. There is a number of issues. Remember, if you start working with marketing automation specifically, check the issues. So yes, there are issues available in Sitecore 9. Be careful. That's it, more or less. Thank you for attention. Questions?
I have a question about this XDB connection exception. You needed to code it quite a lot of times and didn't do anything about it. What's that about?
Well, it's mostly for demo purposes. But that's a type of exception you will get if anything goes wrong. So, for example, connection is not secure between client and xConnect. You will get this type of exception. So, just catch it.
Okay, and another exception about this GDPR, because you showed us that there is one method for the right to be forgotten. And you also said that right now actually we need to create our own scripts. Do you have experience in creating these own scripts to support this GDPR?
Sitecore 8?
Sitecore 8, right.
Well, for Sitecore 8 there was several ways. One of them was, for example, sometimes we have to build MongoDB queries to run them in the console to clear some context. For example, if we need to really clean some data. If you use old XDB connection, there was also some code, a lot of code, where we get the contact and then get all the facets and set it to empty strings, for example, manually or to nulls, and then tries to save it and the catch situation when this contact was already changed in the shred session, for example. But now we just call this method and data is queried from xConnect.
Yep.
Actually, I have two basic questions about xConnect because it sounds really good. So the first one is, so for xConnect in your example here, that the first variable that you have the xConnect UI.
Yeah.
In order to start communicating with it, which is xConnect now is a separate module or service.
Separate web application.
Yeah, so the application that will be serving for Sitecore or xConnect account.
Exactly.
So the first question is it one-to-one relation with Sitecore, which means that I have one instance, means I need a separate xConnect code, or if I have multiple different Sitecore instances?
Well, there was a rumor that, well, we checked it, but it didn't work. So there was a rumor, or maybe it's true, but we checked it. We actually plugged in multiple Sitecore instances to the same xConnect instance, and it didn't work. The data get messed, actually. And there is a lot of explanation behind it. There is reference data that is coming when you deploy marketing definitions, and you kind of need to deploy marketing definition for multiple Sitecore instances, and then it works, but you kind of don't do it. So we didn't do it during the test. Maybe that's the reason or something.
Because actually I'm asking because behind xConnect, you have the database that has Solar with how many layers. So if I have multiple projects, will xConnect be able to differentiate between the correct database and correct Solar cores for one application?
Well, the quick test we did, confirms that it's not possible at the moment. But I don't know.
Yeah, because contacts they're like shared between all the instances, become shared.
So the question is about using Sitecore 8, so that all your experience data or analytical data will be stored in the session, and Sitecore will be flushing it automatically when the session needs to MongoDB. This is the technique. So how it's working here with Sitecore now? Is it the same module, storing everything, same sessions, and connecting to it?
The tracker is still there, but when the session expires, it will flush the data to xConnect. But you can have events that are marked as a live event, and they will be immediately recognized and recorded by xConnect. So if you have your automation engine started right during the session, you can still do it. And Sitecore recommends that you make any changes to the contact using xConnect API directly. You don't wait for any sessions to expire. So that's recommendation from Sitecore as far as I understand.
So the closed one is still using sessions. The default Sitecore without using my customer code, only recording normal users and normal data, will be using sessions.
Yeah, it will be fully compatible as far as I understand.
Yeah, it's fully compatible, so there is tracker, and the tracker will get flushed to the xConnect at some point when the session expires. But you can still, during the session, you can start the connection with xConnect and push your data. That's kind of recommended approach.
Go ahead. Okay. Yeah, the demo is really impressive. How much custom code did you have to write to for this workflow, for your workflow in the marketing automation?
So because it was Sitecore 9 technical preview, and because we didn't know something, we had to override, for instance, change behavior profile action type. We had to override it. I don't think we have to do it now in Sitecore 9. We had to override, we had to rebuild out-of-the-box condition, like where the contact gender is. So there is this default condition available. We had to rebuild it because, again, it was not pulling the facets that are evaluated in code. So we had to override it. Again, I don't think you should do it now with Sitecore 9 released. But for the marketing automation, that's it pretty much. We didn't do anything to make it work real time, and we of course created this send email agenda action type, which is, it has really nothing to do with marketing automation. It just pulls the item with personalization and just sends it as a body.
Yeah, just because of EXM is not released yet.
Yeah, there is no EXM. As soon as EXM is released, we sort of should expect some more actions available in the automation plan, so that we can send emails and.
So I have two questions. The first is, like under the xConnector layer, you can have a different data sources, as you said, SQL and some of the document databases. Yeah. So do you know like any scenarios where SQL service can be better, or for example MongoDB can be better? This is the first question. The second is which cognitive services you use for doing that.
Cognitive services from Microsoft. And regarding scenarios when it's better to use this or that, I don't think we can answer this question.
Well, MongoDB was introduced just because it was easier to push JSON data to it, but in most scenarios MongoDB was too big and too, like, it's not really needed for most of Sitecore projects, where you have like maybe even millions of records. It's still not a big data, and in most scenarios it was just additional pain for customers to set up MongoDB somewhere additionally, and if it was in cloud, it's really expensive, it is fail-safe, like cluster of free MongoDBs. So I expect that in most scenarios right now we'll just use SQL, because SQL 2016 allows to manipulate with JSON data. So
We have a client that actually was making decision to acquire Sitecore or not based on this fact that there is SQL supported instead of Mongo. So their IT department was scared of Mongo, and as soon as we explained there is SQL inside Sitecore, okay, we got it.
Okay, let's stop at this point. Thank you guys.
Thank you.
So 5 minute break.